to celebrate that we were able to show up. And sometimes we show up and then we leave right after we show up. So you might be here for a couple of minutes and be like, no, but for real, I don't have it. That's okay too.
I actually like listening to you all. I did it last week. Like I was going through them health issues last week too,
Mm-hmm.
but it was comforting just showing up on Thursday.
Yeah. So listen, that's what I tell myself. You just got to show up. Whatever happens, happens, but you just got to show up. Okay. Hope in 10 hours. Again, and sometimes that might be just a couple of hours. And remember, in terms of this hope and just showing up, at the end of this month, which I guess technically goes into March, but I count it as the end of February because, it's a short month. We have 10 pages in 2 days. I hope that you are able to come and make the most of it. I know that most people who come, even if they felt like they didn't do anything for the rest of the month, even if they felt like they don't have it, coming, you can at least get one thing done during the weekend, but you absolutely will leave feeling real motivated, real hopeful. Unless I'm just completely off with how people are feeling during this retreat, but that's my experience of watching you all. All right, let's get into some reflection questions. I got more questions coming. Please put your responses in the chat. If you are not comfortable sharing them with everyone, you can send it only to me, whatever fits your comfort level. I need you to remind yourself, especially if you're having a hard time this week, remind yourself, when will you graduate? Remember, right? We're telling our brains when we're going to graduate. It's not a hope. This is when I will graduate. So what is the month and the year that you will graduate? Okay. What is that looking like? What is your one thing for February? Right? Remind yourself. I felt like it was evenly split, at least on most calls, between the methods chapter, literature review, and I know there's some few exams, preps. So what is your one thing for February? 2 different questions. How do you want to feel this week? You know how you feel right now, but how do you want to feel this week? If anything was possible, if every emotion is accessible to you, which it is, how do you want to feel this week? I'm asking your brain to do a little bit something different, right? I'm asking it to reframe what this week could be. How do you want to feel? We act based on how we feel. So how do you want to feel this week? What do you want to believe is true about you this week? So you're thinking about what's coming up for you this week. What do you want to believe is true about you? Our actions come from what we believe and how we feel. So I am asking you to choose on purpose how you want to feel and what you want to believe. Finish chapter 3. You want to feel caught up. Okay, my brain was like, "That where is the emotion? What is an emotion that do we need to phone a friend? Because we could phone a friend. If I felt caught up, what is an emotion? Do I need to bring out like an emotion, a feelings chart?
Yes. That is my Capricorn moon. It's like, no, what do you mean emotion?
Like, girl, what? No, the work just needs to get done. Okay. You know what? As someone who was surrounded by Capricorns all their life, okay, what I know is y'all got all the emotions. Now, whether y'all like going to admit it or not, you have them all.
We just don't know how to share them.
Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna take it. Caught up. Listen, you answered the question. I'm gonna just take the win while I got it. You want to believe that you could do it all. All of what exactly? What I could do all.
Be like healthy and take care of myself and actually do my job plus everything else I'm doing. All the 20,000 things that we have on the list of things that we're supposed to be doing but don't get done in a day. At least I don't get it done in a day. It might take me a couple of days.
I'm just inviting you to practice a level of honesty with yourself. That's one thing I do appreciate about a Capricorn. I mean, all earth signs in general, but particularly a Capricorn. Do you really want to be able to do everything? All the things?
I do.
Like, do you really want to do all the things they tell you to do at work? You really want to do all the things they're expecting of you?
Not at work, but
See?
the things, yes. Yeah.
Just saying, because the brain is like, it can be very literal. So if you're like all the things, and it's like, well, we didn't do that one thing that such and such and department of such and such said we should do.
Yes.
And
it will replay that in my head as I'm trying to go to sleep at night.
Which is why we need to be very clear. So is it like, I want to do all the things related to my one thing for my dissertation? Because that's a different. It helps the brain know where to focus and go to work. Because your brain continues to solve problems, y'all, but it will solve whatever problem it thinks you wants it to solve until you tell it, no, I want you to solve this. Work on this. Right. So another way, the reason why I'm asking y'all these questions is because when you tell your brain, I want to feel this way and I want to believe this, and as detailed as you can get, the brain's like, oh, I got you. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I will tell my brain it's got to be, well, right now it's the dissertation. For proposal, it's my proposal. I don't know how I get behind sometimes, because I will come to, the writing and all of the things.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm still somehow, I feel behind. I may not be behind. I just feel behind. So this morning I went and got breakfast and sat there and thought a little bit. And then I asked ChatGPT some questions and was like, how do we do this? because I feel like my goal has been my goal for the last 2 months. And so everything's in pieces and in parts. I haven't put it together. But not as, I know there's still more parts needed. Right?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna come back to this feeling part, because I have some thoughts working. And Danielle, I thought she had her hair cut too. No, it's just pulled back, right? Your hair is pulled back in a braid. Yeah. I was about to be like, it's a real cute 90s hairstyle. I'm loving it.
I need to do it.
Oh wait, you're gonna cut your hair?
I should.
You should. No. Okay. Hey, everybody. We are not doing any major. Listen to me. Okay. I'm going to take a brief astrology break. Do not do anything majorly to your appearance until about the end of April. It's May. We're going into a Venus retrograde. Like a Mercury retrograde is all about, communication and logistics. Venus is about how you look, how you make your money, your values. And so in the same way you try not to sign contracts or make plans during a Mercury retrograde, you also don't make any major beauty things during a Venus retrograde. It's not that something is guaranteed that something bad is going to happen, but it's a higher chance that you will regret what you did. It may not be quite what you were hoping. Okay, we'll come back to that if you want to, but that is just, so think about it for the summer. Is what I'm saying, Melissa. Okay, summer.
Yes, that is summer actually, because but eventually I will chop it off. That's the thing. It'll grow out and then I chop it off, and it's just a cycle I go through.
That's good, because I'm about to cut this. I'm just later though. Later, we're gonna let it grow some more, and I'm gonna cut it. Okay. I'm liking y'all sentences. Okay. I'm looking at them. Danielle, that needs to be a t-shirt. How you want to feel. Okay, y'all. Y'all know how I feel about this bald white man. Okay. If you haven't read this book, this is my plug again. He needs to give me an affiliate link at this point, because the way I just be hyping up Atomic Habits, I need an affiliate link. Anyway, the long way is the fast way. I have been telling myself this for the past 2 years, because I have to, as somebody with a lot of fire energy, I have to be like, no, we're going to do one thing at a time, because you're trying to do too much. And I had to tell myself the long way is the fast way so that I don't spend months and months and months trying to find a shortcut. And I would have been done had I just did the one thing at a time. So that's my advice to you today, my reminder to you. So here's a quote. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the months and years can be enormous. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you will end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Okay, this quote on the surface, you might be like, what girl, compound interest? I don't understand. Right? James Clear would say, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall, right, to the level of your systems, your habits. Your habits are the only thing that matters. So, a little bit to what you were saying earlier, Melissa, and to anyone else who relates to this, if you're going week to week and you're feeling like, I don't think I'm getting enough done, or I don't think I'm going fast enough, I would argue you're focused on the end instead of the process. And I get it, because especially when you have something as emotionally charged as getting to graduation or getting to the next milestone, you just want to get there. And it's not that you're rushing just for the sake of rushing. What I've seen is that most of the time when we're trying to get to the end, we're trying to see, is it possible for us? So to say that a different way, right? You're trying to see, do you have what it takes to get to graduation? Like, is this really going to work out? And so we, in our I guess imposter syndrome or insecurity of feeling like we're not enough to get to the end goal, we didn't try to rush. At least I do. I'm like, oh, if I could just sprint to the end, then I'll know for sure. But y'all, the whole point of any goal that I argue is the journey. As cliche as that sounds, what I know to be true in my Oprah voice, the journey, who you become in the process, in the pursuit of the goal, is way more important than the actual goal itself. If I say it this way, right, a lot of people will tell me, I want to be doctor because I want to feel like legitimate, or like I want people to know that I know what I'm talking about. Like I want to walk into the room and feel confident and people give me that like respect, if you will. When you focus on the process, you could be that person today, because a title doesn't change that. You could be the person today who walks into rooms and people just give you that respect. You could be the person today who, when people see your name on a CV or come across their desk, they're like, yes, this person knows what they're doing. I am no way am trying to sit here and say like having the title of doctor doesn't have an effect in that way. I am asking you to consider that the reasons why you're going after this degree, you could have them now. You could have the benefits now. And that starts with developing the habits of the person you want to become now. So if you want to seem as someone who is confident, what habits, what skills do you need today to be confident? So if I reverse engineer a lot, so I'm like, oh, let me take Danielle, for example. Danielle is about to go run a half marathon. I'm sure we would talk to Danielle. We can go back in time in August and be like, tell us about this thing. Like, what are you doing? I'm sure she's like, I just want to be a runner, or I just want to get a medal. But from August to now, she had to become the person who can run a half marathon. Like, stick with me for a minute. Meaning she had to develop the habits of someone who can complete a marathon. So it's been more important that she shows up every day and she follows whatever her training plan is, that she's a person who, whether it's raining outside, whether she feels like it or not, whether she thinks she's making progress or not, that she's a person who gets up and goes outside and does her running plan. And so now, fast forward to February, right? I'm speaking for you, but I feel safe in this assumption. She's someone who's like, oh yeah, this race is done. The race itself is more like a cherry on top. It's more like an extra. because she's already the person who can run a half marathon. Like she probably did 11 or 12 miles at some point throughout this plan. Do y'all get what I'm saying? It's more important about the habits of the person you want to become. It's more about the habits of a doctor than it is about the title. Because there are plenty of people who are called doctor who have the degree and they don't feel confident. They don't feel legitimate. They don't feel respected. But the issue with focusing on habits is it feels like in the moment it's taking too long. Like there's no way me walking. I think you said this in 2 calls ago, Danielle, but there's no way going outside and walking for 5 minutes. No way is that version of you going to ever be able to run a half marathon. I'm sure that's what you were thinking. That's what I was thinking. I would go to I would go all the way to the gym and walk for 10 minutes and be like, well, that was great. Got to go home. My brain was like, I will never be someone who could do miles, who could just do miles and miles and miles. No. But it starts with the habit. It's developing the habits. Because if somebody came to you right now and they said, oh, you can graduate tomorrow. Like, here you go. Here's your paperwork. You can graduate tomorrow. Are you ready? Are you ready to do that? If someone was like, here you go. Like, yeah. What you have right now, the draft you have is good enough. We're going to sign the paperwork. You're a doctor. Are you ready? Do you know what your next steps will be? Do you know, like, anything that's going to happen 6 months from now, 12 months from now? Even if you know, are you prepared for those things that you planned? This is why the journey is important, y'all. Okay, any thoughts about this before I go to my next slide? In the snow, the way I would have been on the treadmill. Listen, I just know I will fall. So my brain was like, I just know it. Okay, you're ready? Jessica said, nah, girl, I don't know. Speak for yourself. I am ready. Give it to me tomorrow. I love it. Yes. Okay. So to bring this point home even more, he was like, when you're focusing on, take a block of ice. When it's sitting on a desk, let's say you took it out, it was at 28 degrees. Sitting in room temperature, eventually it will start to like heat up eventually. But from the 28 degrees, 29 degrees, it's still solid. It's still solid at 30 degrees. It's still solid at 31 degrees. It is not until the temperature of the ice reaches 32 that it begins to melt. Right? If you're only focused on getting to melting, you are missing all the goods and the bits of going from 28 degrees to 32 degrees. You're essentially saying this doesn't matter. This doesn't count. I should just be able to go from here to here. How? If you haven't developed the skills, if you haven't let the time go by, like I'm putting this in the same sense of you being a doctor, right? You writing your proposal, you getting practice and doing your proposal defense, because do y'all realize that your proposal defense is practice? Like as far as the graduate school is concerned and like overall, like there's a lot of programs, they only have one defense. But someone had the great idea because they were a great educator to say, maybe we should have a proposal defense because that would just help people. That would help them prepare or help them get the skills of presenting their work and talking about their work and defending their work. And because you have that step, then you go off and you collect your data and you're writing up your final dissertation. Now you know how to prepare for your final defense. Now you know how you want to present the information because you had practice. But if you didn't have this, if you just skipped from, I have this idea of a dissertation, and then a year later you got over here, I don't think you would be as prepared. Hopefully this analogy is working. Okay. I want you to focus on building momentum instead of motivation. Motivation is a lie. Okay. It will have us. The way I've talked to myself, okay, in like 5 minutes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just scroll on TikTok until I get a burst of motivation. It's always a setup. Habits, it's a lie from the devil. Habits is how we build momentum. Momentum is what keeps us going. When you say, I want to be someone who's consistent and disciplined, what you're saying is, I want to have momentum. And we do that in this group by focusing on one thing at a time. right? I asked you, what is your one thing for the month? And then every week I ask you to break that one thing down into 15 micro tasks. All of these little, I don't know, little rocks, I say, right, eventually will lead to this one big one. But it's the act of focusing on one thing at a time and making significant progress that'll help you internally feel like I'm on track. I'm doing enough. I'm actually making progress. But when your only focus is, did I finish my proposal? That's a lot to hold on to every week. Now, let me take a slight break. Could you write a proposal in a week? You could, but you may not have the emotional endurance to do that. When I say emotional endurance, I mean being willing to sit with that voice that says, this is stupid, you're doing everything wrong, nobody's going to like this, they're going to tell you failed. The more that you're able to sit with that voice and still put words on the page and still move forward, the faster you'll be able to go. I just know most of us need time to do that. We need little small wins to build enough endurance to sit with that until we can make a significant set of progress, like proposal or the whole dissertation defense. But if you got a good relationship with that voice, yeah, you could do this in a week. You could write a proposal in a week. I know, and this is for my naysayers who say 10 hours. I need more than 10 hours. If you can't finish 15 tasks in 10 hours or less, you don't need more than 10 hours. You need a better plan. You need to sit down with the plan you're making every week and ask yourself, how can I make this more doable? Because the more doable your plan is, the more you'll get done. How I know, which is why I've been asking y'all to tell me what your plan is in the chat lately, how I know that your plan isn't chunked down enough, isn't micro enough, is because when you come every week and you say, I don't know, I know I showed up and I worked, but I don't know if I did anything. I don't think your plan was micro enough. I don't think you chunked it out enough. Because you can come and tell me I produced X amount of results this week. I know I'm asking you these questions on Sundays. It seems like it's tedious and you're like, girl, I don't need to do all of that. You do, because we're helping our future selves be able to show up and get work done. I don't want to get ahead of my slides. But before I get here, let me look at the chat. Okay. And the amount of ish that I have gone through in my committee that has me confident that I'm graduating come hell or high water. And to be clear, I am the hell and the high water. Okay, y'all, listen. Today, I am not focused. I do have quotes just run around in my head. Okay. Bare minimum. I asked you to do the bare minimum for a reason. This is not about if you can become a doctor or not. It's not about if you can write a dissertation. You can't. You have multiple degrees. You got through the courses. Most of you have passed your exams. You can do a dissertation. What you may not be able to, what you need some help with is managing your energy, calming your nervous system. That anxiety, that this urgency, that is what's making you feel like you're not doing enough. Feeling like you can't trust yourself is making you feel like you are not doing enough. So I asked you to focus on the bare minimum so you can have more time and energy and attention to tend to your nervous system. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to go through. I was spending some time this week thinking about how can I make this more clear about what I mean about doing the bare minimum. Because I know that triggers some of y'all. And my whole goal here is to show you that by doing the bare minimum, you already have all the skills. You already have the knowledge. This part of the process is learning to trust that you know enough. Trust that you can do it. But if you're too busy and urgency and oh, I got to do it, you can't see. No, you can. You don't need anything else. You're not missing anything. You're not behind. You just need to relax and trust in what you know, trust in what you've done, right? Trust in the support that you have. Some of the ways you could do that is one, focusing on energy management is time management. You don't need a plan with 50 billion things on it. You need a plan that feels doable. And let me use a different word that feels easy. A plan that allows you white space on your calendar so that you can do things like lay down somewhere or eat actual meals or talk to people and laugh or scroll if you want to or watch TV, just to do things to take care of yourself. Momentum over motivation, because motivation it goes in and out. But when you know, like, I just got to show up and do this one small thing in the same way, I'm sure you have some shower routine that you don't even think about. I'm sure you have the same way you drive to work every day. You don't even think about that. Those are small habits you have. I'm sure there's a process you do. I don't know, when you're making your favorite meal, you go in the same order probably, because these are small steps that you do in the same order every time. And you don't have to think about it. You just show up and do it. Do not wait until you feel like doing a thing, because that's a setup. When you have habits that are small and that you do every week, like you come here every Sunday and you make your plan, or I don't know, maybe you have a habit of Monday mornings, you go to your favorite coffee shop and that's where you make your plan. And you just use Sunday nights to get you going. I don't know what your process is. But when we have routines, it makes it easy for us to get into action. When we focus on one thing at a time, right, it makes the nervous system feel like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. So I don't got to freak out. All I got to do is go write a shitty paragraph. All I have to do is just go find this one article. All I have to do is just show up to the Write With Us session. That feels more doable. It feels more like, oh, it's not, I don't get stressed. But when you say things like, I need to read 100 articles, or I need to finish this proposal, or I need to graduate by May, that feels real big. That feels like there's too many steps and there's not enough time to do that. Focus on one small thing at a time. Right? We are going to plan for the unmotivated version of you. You don't make a plan for the version of you who got it all together, who can do all the things. No, that's a setup. Make a plan, and I'm going to use this language on purpose. Make a plan for the laziest version of you. The version of you who just want to be in the bed, who don't even care about this degree, who like, I don't even need another one actually, because I got other ones. The version of you who just feels like, I got 1 hour for this, if that. How do you make a plan for that person? How do you keep it under 10 hours a week? Because you got other things to do. Like scroll. I'm going to keep saying scroll because some of y'all are right now watching me on the social media app. Scrolling right now, because these days, you're probably not watching the news too much. You're probably not wanting to engage in too deep of a conversation. You like, ooh, that's been my thing. Where the funny stuff at? I just want silly content. I don't want to think about nothing serious. Produce at least 15 micro tasks a week. Because here's what happens. If you show up next Sunday and you like, I did these 15 things, you know what happens when that voice tries to tell you didn't do anything? You're like, nope, I got 15 things on this list. I did something. But if your plan was work on chapter 2 and then you come back next week, I mean, yeah, you worked on chapter 2, but it don't feel the same as being able to say, I did these 15 things. Don't try to think about this as your smart intellectual self. Think about this as your lazy, unmotivated self, that version of you who don't understand logic, who only understands emotion. Plan for that part. Okay. And then we're going to make as many decisions ahead of time as possible. The other reason why it's so hard to do stuff during the week is you have decision fatigue. You got to make decisions at work. You got decisions for home. You got decisions for yourself, what to wear, How you gonna do your hair? What you gonna eat? What you gonna eat takes you out. Okay, it takes me out. That's why I've been eating the same thing because I can't make no more decisions about food. Okay, then you gotta decide. You go to work. Do I respond to these emails or do I go to this meeting? Do I cuss them out or do I keep it cute? Right? It's just so many decisions we gotta make in a day. Let this dissertation you already made the decisions on Sunday. You just want the dissertation to appear out of nowhere or the decision?
No, the food.
Oh, the food. Listen, yes. I don't know. Because then if it's not on my safe food list, then I'm still not going to eat it. Okay, now my neurospiciness is showing, but if it could appear, if someone knows what's my safe food list and give me food, then yes, I'm with you. You know? Because I just had a flashback to childhood when I was, I don't want that. Liver, okra, girl, no. Guess who's not eating for days? Me. I'm like, you will sit here until you eat. Girl, guess who's going to sit here? Me? So I'm not doing it. Okay, let me get back on track. And this last one, I know it's going to be a little bit hard, but what if you were willing to fail? What if failure was the goal? You can cuss me out in the chat. You can give me an emoji. But what if failure is your goal? What if you want to show up and like I'm gonna show Dr. Lacy this ain't possible. That's what I did with my dissertation. I was like, I need to show my chair that she is ridiculous. Because why would you tell me 2 months to? I'm gonna show her. Watch me fail, and who did not fail? Sometimes you got to talk to your mind like that. Okay, take a deep breath. Everybody breathe. Let's fill up our lungs. Let's give our nervous system some calm. Are we breathing? Are you breathing? Was that a deep breath? Heather, you look just so. Is there an announcement? You want to give us some joy? Because there's radiating off your face. I know you're walking. I did ask you a question as you were walking.
No, so look, I was going through my thing today. I was going through her edit. Listen, graduation is in April. Don't play with me. She done wrote it in there and set it up. Like
she set up your graduation?
She set up my dissertation. She set it up so it was like, yeah, we're gonna you're gonna defend and you'll pass. You'll be fine. There'll be revisions.
I love a good chair that's like, yes, let's do this.
I just read one little comment and I was like, stop playing with me, lady. Yes, Lord.
She's like, no, stop playing with me because we need to just be done. We need to be done. We got a graduation party to plan. We're done.
Listen. Yeah, that hit hard today. And I was just like, ooh, okay. Yes. So, I got to redo chapter 5 again, but it's fine.
That makes sense. That's normal for everybody. It is. If your chair did not tell you to rewrite chapter 5,
listen,
be a little bit on edge. Like, why not? Okay.
And then she did throw in some odd, like she was like, put this in. Put it in. One. Okay, I'll put it in. Yeah, I heard your voice. Your voice was like, just gonna put it in because we want to be done, right?
Yep. Yeah, put it in.
It's been an exciting day.
Yay. You just finished your rewrite of chapter 5 too? Yes. Chapter 5, when I was about to be like, okay, chair, unless you tell me what to put in here, I'm done. If I had AI, y'all, it would have been over. But that's when I like for real hit a wall because I was on my 3rd rewrite of chapter 5. And I said, girl, I don't have nothing else to say. Okay. Because what else am I supposed to tell these people? They know this institution is racist. They know what other recommendations you want me to say? Get out the way. That's what I said. That's it. That's all. So she had to be like, okay, add these in there. Had an attitude. All right. Okay, everybody, get out your plan. Get your plan from last week. If you didn't have a plan for last week, it's all right. Get whatever you need. Get some paper, a document, whatever you need. In the chat, how many days and hours did you say you were work last week? When you made your plan or you were thinking about, after watching the Super Bowl, the halftime performance, and you were like, yes, Kendra did that. Okay. What did you say you would do this week? How many days and hours did you say you would work this week? And you can give me, listen, guesses are good because we just want to know. We want to have an idea, a ballpark. How many days and hours did you say you would work? And for those of you on the social medias, I want you to know that a lot of people, I feel like it's in two groups. Either people are like 4 to 6 or 20. I feel like there's a lot of in between. Okay, I did not say what days or hours I would work. Okay, I said I would come to Thursday. I did that. Boom. I said I would write every day during period 3 and after school. Each class period is 45 minutes. Oh, you could do that in the middle of the day with the babies? Didn't really specify. I said I will work every day. Okay, awesome. Everybody else, what did you do? What did you say? Did you say you would work every day? Was there a certain day? Did you say like I'm not writing a dissertation or working on a doctoral program this week? What did you say? Go back to last Sunday. This isn't about shame. This isn't about yelling at yourself. This is about knowing the information. The reason why we evaluate is so we know what's working and what's not working, not to talk shit to ourselves. That's pointless. I just set out to work every day for 2 hours. I did it. I didn't. Okay, so I read that one. I said around 30 hours. Not the emoji of hiding. I claimed I finished all work by Thursday. Definitely was more than that. Work every morning for 1.5 to 2 hours. Okay. Now I need screens. Okay, late but locked in. No, you here though. Okay, only 4 to 5 hours last week, but I plan for much more. I love that. I can't see Instagram right now because I need multiple screens. Okay. How many days and hours did you actually work? Now, I know some of y'all told me, but how many did you actually work? Urgent care visit through me. Well, that makes sense, Ashley, because the way I would have been like, oh, what's a work? I'm in the bed. I don't need much to say I'm in the bed. I'm in the bed. But how many hours, days and hours did y'all work? This is what you said. What did you actually do? And again, let me remind you in your nervous system, the reason why I'm asking you to list this out is so that you just have an idea. Have an idea of this is how I was thinking on Sunday. This is how I'm thinking. This is what actually happened. What's in the middle? Come from a place of curiosity. Treat this like put your researcher's hat on and be curious. I said I would do this, but I did this. Why is that? I worked all days, different times each day, total maybe 30 hours, about 20 hours. Actually did work during period 3 and I wrote for 4 hours on Monday because I had a day off. Do you have tomorrow off as well? For President's Day?
A week off because we do a ski week.
A ski week?
We gave up furlough days some years ago. So
it's
called ski week now, President's Week.
Like you go, like now I got questions. Is it intended like the teachers are going skiing?
No, we call it that so that we don't remind ourselves that we gave up furlough days in 2008, that we gave up 2-3 days in 2008. So we say it's ski week.
Okay. Going skiing. That's okay. Got you. Okay.
They're not going skiing.
That's what it was like.
I'm not going skiing.
I'm like, listen, I'm not, no shade. I was just trying to make sure. I ended up with 15 hours. I ended up resting while waiting for my chapter 4 feedback. Look at that. Rest in a solid 15 hours. 4 hours. That's what you tell your brain, Melissa. You did it. I did show up. I did put work in. 3.5 days. You know, I just want you to know I heart you, Aquarius. Okay. I don't know if there's other Aquarius on the call. I just left 3.5 days. I love it. Okay. 15 hours, 4 out of the 6 days. So that's about 14 to 16 hours. We have February vacation. Oh, interesting. I feel like that would throw me off. Maybe not, because February gets a little. It gets when like the season of depression really kicks in, and you need some time off. Okay, 2 hours this week. Okay, how many tasks did you say you would complete? Did you break it down by tasks? What did you say you would do last Sunday or Monday, whenever you made your plan? How many things did you say you would get done by the end of the week? I know you said that you would work. Now, why do I ask this question? Is because most people stop at that last question that I asked. Like most people just say, oh, I'm going to work on Monday, I'm going to work on Friday, or I'm going to do my 2 hours every day and then stop. And productivity is not measured by hours. I know that's how corporate America would want you to think about it. It's how capitalism wants you to think about it. But really, at the end of the day, it's about what results did you produce? Because you could have completed 10 tasks in 2 hours, or it could have taken you 20. It just depends on the task, right? But if we're only focusing on how much you work, that's not really telling us information. We don't really know. Like, did you need to work the amount of hours that you worked this week? There's no way to know. If we only focused on the time, there would be no way to know if you needed to change anything about the way you worked last week. But if we focus on, this is what I said I would do, this is what I actually did, like these are the results I produced, that's different. Because now we can compare. I said I would do these number of things in these number of hours. Was that a good plan or not for me? Not for homegirl over there, but for me, was that a good plan? All revisions for chapters 3 and 4. I said I was going to begin chapters 1 and 2 revisions, and show did get them done. Working, and I guess maybe because you're in the environment already, you're already in go mode at work. So I'm guessing like that helps you to show up. There's so much I can get done in 45 minutes. It's when I start being like, I'm going to work for 3 to 4 hours that I start doing other stuff. But when I'm like, girl, you got 45 minutes to get things done, start crossing things off the list. Okay, I just had big plans, but Sunday was the start of the week being off. I think I just need to adjust weekly, as some weeks might be busier. I only completed a couple of brain dumps and only one shitty paragraph. But you produced a couple brain dumps and a shitty paragraph. Again, more information to tell that voice that says, I didn't do anything. Yeah, I did. I did all of that. And I know y'all know what question is coming. How many tasks did you actually complete? I said I was going to be finished reviewing my lit review to align with my findings and start my chapter 5. However, I started my lit review alignment. I got through the review. Next is fixing step for part 1. So 1 out of 6. Then I rested because I was drained. See, I would say, you said I started with the lit review alignment. If that is like going into each paragraph and changing things or fixing or each section, I count each of those things as a task. So I hope that is helping to orient. When I say micro tasks, I want you to think about, like, for instance, Melissa saying writing one shitty paragraph. That's a task. That's one task. So you could have a plan of like 15 shitty paragraphs. Right? You could do that in an hour, depending on, what tools you're using. So I say all of that to say, Jessica, that I think you probably have more than 6, but I get it that it's from your original plan. I said I would get my proposal submitted last Sunday. I was a bit distracted because it was initially due on the 10th. I ended up asking my advisor for an extension. They gave me until Thursday. I spent last week reorganizing the lit review, addressing their comments. Listen, you got it in, Chris. Wait, Chris, what you cook today? Did you cook today?
Yes, I'm cooking paella today.
Y'all, how could listen, Chris? When do we get a video series? Because every Sunday, I don't think I've heard a repeat meal yet. I haven't- and then
I
you
don't
said
know
it's
about
a
a video. I don't know about a video, but I put the picture because I did respond in the circle about fun things that I
yeah.
was doing, and I put the recipe.
No.
I did.
We
Chris, I want the book that you pulling at.
Okay. Well, tell me what your address is, and I'll send it to you.
I was looking, I was like, these some interesting names for some recipes. I was like, but I so need to improve my dietary, skills and stuff. So I was like, I need to. Oh man.
You do need to write your own cookbook, Janet. You're not lying. Yeah. Because I can smell it. It just smells. It's gonna be good.
yes, like all you need to do. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know when you make this decision, but if you just come in circle and just say, "Y'all, here's the recipe," I'm just say go live so we can make it with you. Okay, you go live, and then if you put the thing in there before, like we can go buy the stuff, right? And then we'll show up and cook along with you because you're talking to a bunch of people with executive functioning challenges. You sent it to us, but we need more. We want to see you do it to give us courage to do it for ourselves.
It was more to calm my nerve. I don't know what it is about cooking that calms my nerve. Because I got that meeting with them on Monday, and they have not said anything. Though I've given them, I know they have live. Valentine's Day was Friday. My advisor had people here, and I'm like, the meeting until Monday at 11:30. So I'm like, I just want to know what y'all gonna say. It's not even that I'm expecting anything. It's just what y'all think. Y'all gonna tell me? So I just gotta wait it out.
Well, okay. What do you want them to tell you?
I want them to say that I could at least send it to the other people. That's what I want.
Okay.
But other than that, I really, if they don't, regardless of whether or not they say that, I just want to know, has the literature review improved so that, it's at least more organized? Because they had me restructure it, and I did. And then I addressed the theoretical framework stuff. I actually rewrote it because I agree with Dr. Travis. I am more talking about epistemologies and meaning making rather than just solely queer theory. So I fixed it in your chat GPT. I can't really say I fixed it. I just took my stuff. This is what they said.
I mean, you was about to fight. You were about to fight. Listen, I want to help you.
And now it talks to me. It's like, okay, Chris, I remember we were working. And I was like, you my friend, dog. So that's what I do.
You got to talk to it like it's your friend, because otherwise, because earlier today I said, now, what about what I just said? You're not doing no. You can name your chat, y'all. You can name your AI. You can give it you can ask it what its name is, or you can give it a name, and they're gonna be like, okay, because sometimes you gotta Okay, I also asked you, Chris, for tomorrow. Did you make your plan for how you're gonna ground yourself?
I just got some more cigars out.
Okay.
I figured out to smoke, and I did buy some more whiskey because I was out. So I have that, and I got more bubble bath stuff. So
okay, and you got time to do that tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Because listen, no matter how this goes, your nervous system still is going to need something because of all the right. Remember, you were on 10 last week and you want to do the transition and synthesis. You were annoyed with the academic writing, and then you did it, and you did it on Thursday. And I'm sure, you had a good time over the weekend. And just know that meeting, you still have some low grade anticipation for tomorrow's meeting. So just taking care of yourself. Okay.
Oh, I followed your thing. I sent you just a picture. I did go to the steakhouse Saturday with my book.
How was that?
That was cool. It felt weird because people were looking at me because I had my book out, and they gave me my steak, and I drank my Crown and Coke. But I read the introduction of a book that has nothing to do with information science. It's actually about a lady named Nanny Burroughs and the labor movement. It's interesting. I like how people combine history, and digging in the archives telling you about Black people and what they did. So I just sat there and then drank my drink and ate my steak. It was fine.
Come on, Crown and Coke and steak. What sides did you get? Did you get some sides? You get a
Yes, the Caesar salad and they do the string beans good because they put bacon in them. Yes, string.
Thank you for entertaining my food questions. Okay. I'm not sure the emoji of why you're, because this sounds like even if you didn't have a plan, it sounds like you were real productive. Q, we gonna come back. We go. I'm not. Help me. Okay, Ashley.
I'm coming up. I was like, let me come off the speaker. I just wanted to ask because I make up my plans and I do my micro tags. And they micro tags are like one paragraph of this section, or and I'm real specific as far as like which section that I list. But it's when I get into remember how we said, well, if I need to read something, or need to go to something, and then I get lost. Like, how you said, reflect on your habits and what you do that kind of stops you from, completing the rest of your micro tasks. What do I do in that case? Because sometimes I feel like I get lost in the sauce when I start to find articles.
But your original task that you were working on wasn't about finding articles?
It might have been just write that paragraph.
Do you use a parking lot document?
I do.
Tell me as much as you can. So go back to whatever that last writing session was. What was happening in your brain when you were like, oh, let me go find this article instead of write this paragraph? There was a something, right? Because usually our brain is saying something. It could be saying something like, oh, you need to go find this article in order to finish this paragraph, or you wouldn't be like you're going to be wasting your time if you don't just go read it now. Like, it won't take you that long. So what's the story that your brain told you?
That's probably the story. It's almost like I'll go and find an article. I'll collect all the citation information, and then I might skim the article instead of actually doing it the way you might have said it. Like, sometimes I might I'll definitely read the abstract, but then I'm like, oh, okay, well, do I know enough? They said this, I don't know about this. And then maybe I might, not all the time, but sometimes I might go and look up another article for something. And then I'm like, they had this. So this is a really good example. I looked at an article last week and it was not on my list. And I was just looking at what I placed as what I was going to do for my writing sessions, because I keep a log of what I do for each writing session. And I put on there that I would look for protocols, because one of the articles I looked at, when I scrolled all the way down past their own citations and references, I saw they included their protocol. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is gold. Like, I didn't realize that some of these articles I might be passing up because I don't go all the way past the references, that I need to be looking for these protocols, because my chair said, hey, you can adapt sometimes some other people's protocols to your own research. That actually saves you time. That's what we do. We recycle. We repeat and recycle things. And so I added that to my list. Now, we can't really go off of last week because of how I was feeling and what was going on, but we have to go off of the times when I do feel a little bit better, like about what's going on. But that's my thing, is that I'll end up adding to my list instead of actually completing what the list actually has. I think that's the way I want to say it.
What's the worst that would happen? And we can phone a friend here. I'm curious what comes up for the rest of y'all too. What's the worst that would happen if you didn't include any literature? You didn't base off like what you were writing, whatever you were writing for your message chapter, or you created your own protocol and you didn't look up any literature. What's the worst that would happen?
So I'm assuming you asking me.
Hmm.
I mean, nothing would happen.
Are you sure?
I mean, I would feel like, dang, I need to know something for this. That's kind of what I'm going through right now, is that I wrote my introduction to my chapter 3 and I just put cite.
Right.
And then now I got to go back and then figure out what literature I had that I can actually include into my citation. A citation part.
So what if you turned it in to your chair and you didn't have those? You just turned in the introduction with the cite in parentheses. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Oh, I did turn it into her.
And what'd she
didn't
say?
nothing. She was like, it's good.
Oh, no, just pause. What'd she say?
Because I submitted the first, remember I told you I submitted the first half of my chapter 3, and she said, I want you to know that the feedback I'm giving you is feedback just to make it better. She said, but I really want to tell you it is really, really good. She said, I just didn't have time to tell you the good stuff about it. She said, I'm telling you verbally. She said, because I could only put what I wanted you to to improve upon, but she said it's really, really good. She said she always enjoys reading my stuff, and then when I'm reading through the feedback, I was like, nah, you right here, you cut me up. You know what I'm saying? But you said, I'm gonna take again what you said, I'm gonna take what she said at face value.
Are you okay? Let me pause. I was about to go deep down in my coaching bag, but now I see I don't have to. I'm going to pass the mic to Heather because her face says she's about to eat you up, and I can stop talking.
Oh, is she? Because I can't see her face.
You know what? Actually, that happened this week. I have a whole statement in one of my introductory paragraphs. I wrote that, and she told me to cite it, and I was like, "That's my work." And I had to go find an in-text citation from. I put it in chat, and it got me something from 1992 and 1976 on agenda setting. That didn't have nothing to do with what I said. We are amazing. And what she said was, if you turn it in with no citation, it means that you know exactly what you're talking about. And the only reason why you're doing this research is because you know what you're talking about. Period.
Because you said I turned it in without citations, and she said it's good. In fact, she wanted to tell you just how good it was, but she didn't have enough time. And pause.
Yeah.
Why don't you believe her?
I don't know. I don't know. I always question myself and sometimes my abilities. I don't care how many degrees I got, I still question.
I mean, right? Because I want you to pause for everyone, right? We say like, oh, I'm doing this because my chair got to like it or my chair has to approve. And most of you, this situation isn't unique to Ashley. Like most of you, your chair is like, this is good. Keep going. This is great. I'm asking Ashley directly and everybody else this is linking with, why don't you believe your chair? Why would your chair lie to you at this stage? What benefit is it in it for them to lie to you?
There's nothing. I mean, because she's already said that, like all of the people that she puts through, that's on her record too. So she wants it to be good. So she wouldn't lie to me because whatever. And I already know the director of my department wants to read my dissertation because when I told her my idea, she said, "Oh, I'm so excited," and I was like, "Oh, don't be like." I'm thinking to myself, like, "Don't be excited about my stuff." But she's so excited. She said when that comes out, she said she definitely wants to read it. And then my last professor course that I had, I didn't even know where she was going when she asked me. She said, "I don't know what it is that you're gonna do after you graduate." And I was like, "What is this? What is this woman's about to tell me?" And then she said, "But please try to publish, your work from your dissertation." So, and then and then my chair, you got this on record because we're recording this, but she said that, she said, "I'm not gonna look up every citation that you have. She said, I ain't got time for that. She said, of course, that you will want to make sure that whatever you're citing has to do with your work. But she said, but I can't go back and double check every last citation you make. So she said, find something that talks about what you're talking about. We're going to put that in there, and keep it moving. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm overthinking a lot of what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm just asking why, right? Like, so for everyone, because y'all are everybody here is very smart. We're all smart. So you could tell me, you go to your therapy sessions every week and you intellectualize, right? So we know you're smart. We know that you could say what's happening. You could probably say why it's happening. I'm asking you to sit with the why, though. And I'm asking you to challenge the why, right? So another way of me saying that is to sit with the evidence that you have. You gave us at least 5 pieces of evidence as to why you can keep moving forward, that you don't have to keep double checking your work. But I'm asking you, what story is your brain telling you? Because that's what's happening. Something, whatever story that is stronger than the evidence that you have that you're doing this right. And we want to know what that is. Right. Natasha said, like, my dissertation won 2 national awards and it's not even really written yet. Yes, it is, but we'll keep going. And I could throw up. For everyone, I'm asking, think about what evidence, what would somebody have to say? What would have to happen for you to believe that you're doing this the right way? What is it that you need to hear to believe that you're on the right track? Hear my keyword in there, to believe it. To answer your question directly, the reason why I'm going there, Ashley, right? I know you said, like, how do I stop myself from going essentially down a rabbit hole when I'm supposed to be writing? That's what it is. There's nothing tangible, right? Because you're using a parking lot document, you're turning in drafts, you meet with your chair, I think weekly, consistently at least. Y'all talk to each other every week. You're doing the things. The only thing that's left from my brain then, as I'm listening to you and listen to you for the past 3 weeks, there's something either, and usually it's like past experience that is telling us, like, I can't trust me. I can't trust that because last time I trusted XYZ. Right, sitting, like, giving that airtime.
Yeah, I mean, I have been rejected before, and it's almost like I feel like I'm trying to prove myself over and over again.
Yeah,
To say that that I'm good enough. And I mean, I know I made it this far. I got to be doggone good enough. Like, I've even won an award, with my research that I was doing with my outside research. I got my GRA, and I did a presentation for that because I'm the one that really touched the data and really did all of the aggregating it and interpreting it. And it's like, even after all of that, I'm still trying to prove that, y'all made a mistake. And I say y'all, meaning the institution I'm in, because they rejected me at first, and they said that, and I know that I probably got rejected just because of my writing, but my writing was good enough. It's just that the doggone GRE was not good enough. And so, and then to get into the specialist program in the same institution and sit next to people who did get into the doctorate. And then I look at the crappy work that they've done, because you got to sit there and read other people's postings and stuff. And then I'm sitting here thinking, like, you got in over me. And then, like, the professor who is now in my chair in that very first class, she doesn't know how much she inspired me, because she was confused as to which student I was. She said, are you the doc student or are you one of the advanced, I tech students? And she said, because you're already writing on a dissertation level. But it's like this institution rejected me at first, so it's like I'm trying to combat that. I don't know why I continue to feel that way, even though I got in a second time. But, I mean, that's why I said earlier, and I don't usually curse, but, it's like a mind situation that I'm like going back and forth on, So, and I believe exactly what Natasha said. I believe that my dissertation is going to be worthy of an award. Like I see it, I envision it. And it's like, I don't really care to have other people validate that it's good. But it's like, I want to prove it to myself that it's good enough to stand on the stage amongst all of these other people that might not even look like me, that, hey, this is good enough. I don't care what that person in that office want to say and want to tear us all down. You know?
Yeah. I'm going to ask what may seem like a random question, but we can connect it. Why do students have IEPs? Like, why do we go through the trouble of helping the babies with an IEP? Like, why would we need to write that down? Why isn't it just common sense for all teachers?
Right. I guess because some people are just not trained in every disability that students have, and they need to know how to work with them.
Training about disabilities. What else? Like, what does it mean for the student themselves?
They have needs, and somebody needs to work with their special needs.
Because the system isn't made for them.
Yeah.
Right? The system makes it seem like it's something wrong with the student. Because the system, it's not made for the student itself, is where I'm going, right? Like, we could talk about diagnoses and whatnot, but like at the end of the day, we got to have a document that clearly communicates for this particular student, this is what they need to be successful. Because currently, the way we do things does not recognize the ways like the student shows up, and it's not conducive. But I'm sure it's frustrating on the student's behalf, on the parents' behalf, that every year, every semester, you got to sit down and look this over and go over it and explain it to people. And then don't even get me started and go into undergrad, right? Like, there is no IEP anymore. And so now you got to go to each professor. My point with this example is that the system is built for one particular type of person. And anyone who doesn't fit into that has to like do all these things. But it's not about you, it's about the system. That's one part. The other part is we do need validation. Like, it's a need. We need validation, right? Because earlier you said, I don't need validation from anyone. What if we just stop at yes, you do? Yes, you do. And it's not a bad thing to need validation. Right? Because in that, then you can hold space, like, for the fact that you try to prevent me from coming into this program, right? You reject me, was your language. You get into the program, you still show up for yourself, you have the courage, you get into it, only for people to have this reaction of like, oh, you're so far advanced, right? Your anger is at the system. Let me cut to this and say, what if you just allowed yourself to be angry at the system, or angry at the program, or angry at the selection committee? What's the problem with being angry at them?
There's no problem. I mean, I would love to be just angry at them.
Is it a waste of time?
No, because my anger doesn't come in me being angry and I just sit there. My anger comes in doing work. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna show up. Like, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get all the way to the end. I'm gonna prove it to you all.
See, that's not. I want you to have Kendrick Lamar level of anger, right? Because you're trying to prove. No. I want you to think about it from a right. Like, if petty is your thing, if indifference is your thing, if right. Because my whole point is,
I'm so petty, and that's the thing. Like, okay, so even recently, we have a newsletter that comes out every month, and she finally posted the program coordinator finally posted about how Ashley has, gotten this research award And then I text my chair and said, "Hey, did you see the newsletter?" And she said, "I did." And she said, the first thought that came in her mind is, why didn't they do this earlier? And I said, that's what I said. Like, in my mind, why did they not do this earlier? But she did do it. And I even had a classmate that's in the cohort ahead of me that she is now called doctor. She sent me a text and said, "Hey, congratulations, Ashley, on, your award. That's great." And it's like, I am being petty. It's like, I want to show up and I want to get whatever awards I can get. I want to have the best thing. I want to do the best dissertation. I want those to see that, hey, yeah, I'm not only like, you passed up on me. I want you to see that you passed up on me, so that you'll know that, hey, I had something. It wasn't because of a doggone, score, that doesn't measure anybody, but look at what happened. I even got y'all's Bagwell, award, because even when I got finished with the specialist program, I was nominated for the Bagwell Award for being the best student in my cohort. So it's like, like, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna but I'm gonna be petty and show you, hey, look at what happened when y'all passed up.
You see, your energy even shifted. Did y'all notice that? Yeah. It's a shift of energy. The reason I went through this line of questions to show you, like, there's a difference between I'm just gonna work and prove it to them versus I'm gonna work and you're gonna have to see me. Like, you're gonna have to see me. And when you see me, you're gonna, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that you fumbled. Not me. I didn't fumble. Right. Because I'm thinking about, so me personally, right, get into the first semester, and the two oldest faculty telling me they made a mistake, letting me in the program. I wasn't a good writer. I couldn't keep up with the rest of my cohort. I didn't have what it took. I said, oh, say less. So I worked, did the thing, and now I have a whole company. I've helped hundreds of students become doctor. I'm so visible. They have no choice but to say, we were wrong. I have to use your stuff in my syllabus. I'm just so proud of the work that you're doing. The way I sit there, now I try to take the Beyonce approach and just smile and be gracious. Okay, but there is a part of me that's, want to cuss the people out. But I, like she said, be gracious. Right. But that's my petty, right? Because it's like, oh, you have no choice. You have to come to me. Like, even the faculty, from the cohort people, I'm like, everybody who counted me out, what you doing over there? Now you gotta come to me, like, I want to do what you're doing. Right now, they're gonna come to you. So everybody here, my point was, the system wasn't created for us. So yeah, we're gonna run into things like this where they're gonna say, oh, you don't have what it takes because the system wasn't created for us. We don't have to be a victim in that. We can be like, and I'm still going to get everything I came for. And because your 10% is their 90%, of course you're gonna come into their program and kill it. Like, of course, they're gonna be impressed by you, of course. And when you remember that, of course, they're gonna be impressed by you, then you ask yourself, okay, but how I want the end? What's the end gonna be? Now, some people would be like, let me get my degree and just move on. I don't really care. It ain't that deep. Some people are like, I'm going to be petty. I'm going to have the biggest turnout at my defense. I know that's Danielle's thing. I'm going to have the biggest turnout. Right? Like, I'm going to get all the awards. You're going to have to see me. Because people going to come to them and say, oh, Ashley did this. Are y'all proud? That's what happened with me. People kept coming to them and being like, oh, Marvette did this. You must be so proud. Petty.
And I'm going to Washington, D.C., and I thought I was just going to have some of my stuff paid for, because remember, it was all taken away. And then I thought, okay, well, I'll get some of it. But now I have gotten word that everything is going to be paid for. And then I'm able to be that first author. I mean, I'm just really psyched about that. I'm first author on the presentation. So it's amazing. So yeah, it's like, I want to throw that in y'all face. Like, look at what happened.
And you have a chair who's 1000% behind you. So much behind you. Like, could you please just put anything on this document at this point so we can move on? right? Like that's what we need in spaces that were not created for us. When people, like in general, you got to stick to the people who are on your team. And she is a doctor. She works for the program. She understands her signature is going to go on the paperwork. If you can't trust anybody else, you could trust in that. And if she's telling you, it's amazing, keep going. Even if you can't, something I said to myself is like, even when I can't believe, I'm gonna borrow the belief or the trust from whoever I'm working with. So in this case, borrow the belief and the trust that your chair has in you, and trust her when she says, yeah, just turn it in. That's what you have to tell yourself in the moments when you're writing and your brain says, oh, I need to know all these articles just in case. No, I can trust that this is enough. I could trust my chair when she said it was good enough. I could trust that. I don't have to do all of that. I just I'll get the citation later. I just need to keep moving forward. The actual work in the moment, to answer your question very directly, is being willing to tell yourself over and over, I could trust myself. And that's not a sexy answer, y'all, but that is what it is. It's nope, I can trust myself. I meet with my chair every week. And it's reminding yourself of what you do and who you are. I meet with my chair every week. She has looked at this. She is not going to steer me wrong. She looked at this paragraph. She looked at, right? Because you're meeting with her and y'all are going through each section. Like, she looked at this and she said it was good. I got this award. I'm going to go speak. It's good. I can trust myself to handle whatever comes up, right? Because if the worst case scenario is that you go all the way to the defense and they say, JK, you don't pass, you could trust yourself to figure out what to do next. The same way you trusted yourself when they rejected you the first time when you tried to get admitted into the program, and you trusted yourself to show up and do whatever was required and you got in the second time. If the worst case scenario happens and you don't pass your defense, you're going to do the same thing. You already know you're prepared for the worst case scenario. What I'm challenging everybody here is to prepare for the best case scenario, because that's really what we're talking about. What we're talking about is you don't know how to handle when your chair tells you this is an amazing chapter, or when people are giving you awards, or when they're just like, yeah, the defense date is, Heather, like, we done. Just turn it in, do the little thing, and we're done. We don't have enough practice, like believing in the best case scenario. So it feels kind of like, I can't trust it, because you have rehearsed over and over the worst case. You've rehearsed every writing session every day that somebody's going to tell you you're doing it wrong, that you're not a good writer, but you haven't had that same energy for best case scenario. And the only thing that's happening is just you don't have enough practice. There's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing that you're missing. You just need practice. And so practice looks like, and when your brain wants to go to, oh, this is awful, they're not going to pass this, immediately following it up with, but they might, but there's a chance, right? I'm not asking you to go pie in the sky. I'm not asking you to be like, it's going to be amazing. You probably can't get there, but you can get to, but they might, I might. And if you got to use this language, like, I might look up and they might be like, this is good enough to go. Here's some feedback. Keep moving on. Right? Practice that.
Thank you, Dr. Lacy.
Thank you for this example. Okay, on that, I'm gonna go through the comments in a minute, but I want to know, what are y'all celebrating from this past week? I just want to end this off on, since we're here, this is also how you talk to that voice that's like, I don't know, this is not gonna work out, but last time they told me, right, Chris? Last time they said, I thought we was good to go, then they came back with all these edits.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that too, a lot, about like what it really is that I'm dealing with or facing, and I'm like, yeah, it's that they'll say that again, and that it didn't get better, and then I'm like, but they didn't really say it didn't get better. They just gave me more comments. So which I'm like, you write for comments until you say pass for dissertation. That's literally, this is the whole process. So we're just sitting in that, and then we're talking with my wife, and she was like, I was like, oh, I just think sometimes I'm battling and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And she was like, well, Chris, how are you gonna measure that? Because you don't have a PhD already. So
measuring it to what? She's like, I know you wanted to be working on your dissertation and got not. That's not what she's saying. She's like, what you measuring it against? So it's like measuring it against a version of you that you're becoming, an experience that you've never had before. So there's some similarities with writing, but this ain't that.
This
So,
ain't that.
And then I think I'm battling, the professors that said you couldn't write. I'm trying to prove things to people who don't really matter, or like my old committee. I'm mad that they couldn't tell me earlier. So when I really resonated was just sitting in the anger of, this process does make you face not just the anger of other people, but just the anger of life in this situation. Because I was like, I think sometimes I get mad because I think about like, well, with my dad, he's done a program, and if he was alive, I could call him. But I'm like, life sucks, So
But that's
that's the way that it is.
I wasn't ready. No, but that is true. No, it does.
I get it. It's like that. What I was saying in the one group this morning, I was like, sometimes I sit up this weekend because we had a meeting in information science at town hall. I was like, I don't know. I said, I swear it feels like life. And this department meeting is like a Lauryn Hill song. I mean, this is, every time I think we grow, you keep telling me this ain't working. It could be easy, but you make it hard. And I'm like, institutions do that. I do that. We're wanting to do so much more, and that's not what they ask.
Listen,
I'm trying to prove to people who really, it doesn't matter. What I prove or don't prove to them, they're gone. They're not a part of my story anymore. So I'm just like, I don't know where that resolves me to, but I've just been thinking about like all of that. Because I'm like, you gotta go hear people's comments on your work until you become Dr. Walker. So.
Ooh, loving you is hard, and we both just end up with scars. Listen. But here's the thing I'm noticing about that is you're at a place where you can even notice that, like you can even have that conversation with yourself. Right? Because if we go back to like last summer or even the summer before, I don't think you would have been in a place to be able to say that, like to ration, like these people don't even matter. Like they're not even a part. I wouldn't even hear from them anymore. It don't even matter. So I need to get their voices out of my mind because they don't matter. Yeah. And this, right, life is hard and grief is all up and through this process. Like grief is a constant in life. And y'all, really, that's why I really want you to let the dissertation be easy so that you can tend to your grief. Because think about your faculty. Think about what you know about your faculty and how they show up. Now, this ain't hashtag not all, but there's a lot of faculty who didn't have the space and still don't have the space or the time to tend to their grief. And look how it comes out in their advising and their teaching and their research, just walking around just like angry and just mad at the world because they need a hug, because they need time to just cry, because they need time to just be. And they looking at you, because this is what really happens. Faculty didn't look at you and they're like, you have it easier than I had it, and you over here still complaining about how hard it is. That ain't got nothing to do with you, though. It got everything to do with them not having the space and feeling like you are. So then it becomes easy to think that the folks who come after you are just entitled and they don't know how easy they have it. And they just need to get over it. So I'm not going to support them because they already got it easy. But that's just them not having the space to tend to their own grief, which is why we got to do our work, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna probably come back to that, but please write down what you're celebrating and what and who helped you to show up last week, because we're going to use that information to go into planning for this week. I promise I'm gonna speed it up because I'm looking at the time. Okay. Everybody know what their one thing is for February, right? You know what you say you were working on. Right now, in this moment, I know we did this at the top of the call, but I want you to check in right now. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being like, nope, don't have it. 3 being like, I mean, it's stable. I'm here. 3 is like I'm here. Baseline. 5 is like feeling good, feeling great. I got all of it. How would you rate your physical energy, your mental energy, and your emotional energy? Where are you? How would you rate your energy? Hi, Wes. Um, yeah, especially with this. I'm gonna stay focused. Camille, I don't know when he became a grown man. Okay, I don't know when he became such a little fat chunk. He's adorable, but I'm like, when did he grow that much? It's like overnight. And now you got your eyes open and your head up.
He just hit 4 months on the 7th, and I was like,
A whole grown man over
and he
there.
been talking to me too.
Oh.
He walking the room like, I'm like,
Adorable. I don't even know where 4 months. 4 months. My brain is like 4 months. That was 4 months ago. That was 4 months ago. Okay. So you got your numbers. Okay. We're going to come back to those numbers in a minute. Thinking about this week. And if you are planning for the most unmotivated version of you, what time do you have available this week to work on things? Now, some of y'all want to go back to your earlier answers of 15 and 30 hours or 3.5 days, or some of you, I think it was like 4 hours. Compare how you felt last week. It's safe to say that you probably have the same week. About 80% of last week will be this week. So then what time do you have available? If you could go back to last week and readjust your schedule, if you were going to readjust it, what would you tell yourself to do? You got 3 honest hours. Boom. If you got, listen, I'm not trying to shame you if you're going over 10. I'm just asking you, let's make it count though. Oh, wait a minute. 32. Where'd 32 come from? Wait, was it always? No.
it was always 30. I just got 2 more.
Okay, friend. But you're going to be done with everything by the 28th?
My first round of coding, my goal.
What's your recovery next week?
I already got my classes planned through the end of the semester, so I'm going to think about it. Not semester, the month.
Yeah.
So they're planned. My recovery is I got 2 3-hour plane rides that I'm going to bust out on.
Okay. But when you come back, are you going to have days off, or what does that look like?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll check in on you.
Me and my mules are
Okay.
going to recover just fine.
Okay. I'm just thinking about combination of all the things.
The physical part, that part is the easy part now.
Well, not so much about the race. I'm putting everything together that you've done over the past 6 weeks alone. Right. And then something about completing a huge milestone for the nervous system is like, whew, well, I'm done. And so I'm just asking, are you giving your nervous system time to process the traveling that you've done, all the interviews that you've done, now this race, and all the in between things? Do you have a day at least to do nothing? And then you're going to put it on. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to a park or two. So nervous system is going to be like, this is a lot.
See, I'm not weirdo, okay? I'm not weirdo. Disney is like a place where my head goes to like, ooh, I can relax.
Okay.
But it's different when you work there for 4 years and don't get activated by being in the space.
Okay, I'm gonna check in on you. I'll check in on you in 2 weeks at the if you come into the retreat. I'll check in on you.
Yeah, I already have 2 of my favorite restaurants planned to go eat at. So
Excitement.
I just learned about Club 33, and now I'm just like, how do I get into the club? Okay. Who do you need to talk to get into this club? Not that I even care, but let me focus. Okay, y'all. We're going down a rabbit hole. Okay. Based on what you have, I want you to look at your level. I want you to compare the level that you chose based on the number of hours you said you would work this week and compare that to how you said you're feeling right now. Because if you are telling me that you're like 2s and 3s, but you're going to work 20, 30 hours this week, how? Are you pushing through? Is it worth pushing through to do that number of hours? The only time that I would be like, yeah, push through is if you know, like, okay, but if you're like Heather, where your chair told you, like, redo this so we can get this defense done, that's a difference. But if you don't even have a date scheduled, there's no hard deadline. It's just a self-imposed deadline. Do we need to push through this week? Do you need to push through? Why are you pushing through? You know, you grown. You could do what you want to. I'm just asking why. Do you know why? Is this the bare minimum, or is this like, I should be able to do this, so I'm going to do it? Keep thinking about it. What level? Okay. While you think about that, and you probably already done this, I want you to brainstorm. What is everything you feel like you need to do, want to do, should do, could do, should have done 3 weeks ago? Brainstorm your list. If you want to pick up the one that you had last week or 2 weeks ago, you can, add to that. Or if you got my energy, I just start over. So I just like rewriting things. Write out everything that you feel like you need to do. And it's okay if things outside of your doctoral process ends up on this list. The point is to empty your brain out so that we have enough space in the brain to make some better decisions for ourselves. That. All right. For those of you who have this week off, or you have time off this week, just because you have it off from work doesn't mean you have to fill it up with work. Say it again. Just because you have time off doesn't mean you have to fill it up with things. You know what you could fill it up with? I'm a trigger some people. You could just go to sleep. You could scroll Instagram Reels, which I don't know why you would do that, because it's like 3 weeks behind TikTok. You should just go to TikTok and scroll. But I digress. It's back in the Apple Store and in the Play Store. You could go re-download it. Not that this is a commercial for TikTok, but my point is, you could be scrolling instead of working. You could be. You could watch TV. A Different World just got back onto Netflix. You go watch that. What else? What else is happening? You could go get one of those like Lego things, like puzzle things. You go do that. I'm saying that leisure too can be on your plan. You could finish your laundry. Like, I'm telling myself, I had 3 loads of clean laundry just on top of my washer and dryer. And yesterday I said, girl, sit down and fold this. I feel so good today. That could be on your plan. That could be a task. You could put an order in for a grocery pickup so that you actually have food and you can stop ordering from DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever you may be using. You could do that. That could be on your list. You could wash your hair. That could be on your list. You could take up the whole 10 hours to have a wash day. That's what you could do with your day off. Wash your hair. Braid it, retwist it, whatever that looks like. Blow dry it. You can go outside, depending on where you live. Okay, you go outside, plant some things. I mean, it's going to be a little bit colder this week across the country, so maybe not. Maybe not. You could go through your closet, and donate some clothes. You could shred some papers. Thank you, Camille. I'm asking you, Why do we put life off? What if the key to getting to graduation faster is you doing these things? Is doing the life stuff that you keep saying, oh, I'll do it later. Zero out your inbox. Now, Melissa, I would need a friend next to me. Okay. I forgot who I was talking to. I was like, just keep talking to me while I clean out my emails. Yeah, but you could though. You could put that on that's a task you put on your list.
You're doing good right now with your emails.
That's because there's 2 days a week that somebody's on the Zoom with me and I'm like, just let me get through them. Whew. But you're right, I am, because my other inboxes are actually clean. I'm like, who am I? New me. It's a new meme.
High five.
And just because we're brainstorming a list, the brainstorm isn't what you're going to do for the week. The brainstorm is so that you empty out your brain, because your brain it functions the best when it processes information. But if it constantly has a list of things that it's like, oh, don't forget, and don't forget, and don't forget, it can't function that well, because it's trying to hold on to things that you could just put on this piece of paper and you can free up your brain so it can do what it does best. Everybody's writing. I'll give you like 30 more seconds, because here's the thing. I don't want you to get carried away. For some of you, what if you gave yourself permission to do absolutely nothing but bed rot while you were off? What if that's what you need? You just need days in a row where you do nothing. You do the bare minimum. Now, I know I just said some cuss words to some of y'all, but consider it. Because what's the point of becoming doctor? Like, what's the point of doing all of these things? What's the point of trying to get to the top of wherever you're trying to get to? Is it not to do what you really want to do? Do you know what you really want to do? Or, do you want to just stay here? It made it, because right now it's this degree. There are plenty of people who go back and get multiple doctoral degrees because they love it, I guess. I'm not really sure. But I'm asking you, what's your point? Like, what's your dream? Like, when you're a doctor and you're done, what's the dream day? What's the average Sunday look like for you? How do you spend your time? Do you do anything leisurely? Some of y'all need to go, maybe pick up the dating apps, get your booty rubbed on. I don't know. What do you want to put on this list? It don't always have to be the dissertation, because we need fun. Some of you are doing this so you could just have days you can just frolic on somebody's plane and go to somebody's foreign country and just have a good time. Okay, let me I want you to select 3 things that you can commit to completing by the end of next Sunday. So by February 23rd, what are 3 things on this list that you can commit to doing? Hey, and overachievers, don't try finding 10 things. Find 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 things, okay? Nobody is going to give you a gold star or A++ if you go above. What's 3 things? I've been off from the dissertation since December. I got to tighten up. Why do you have to tighten up? What happened? Did something happen? Did somebody say, like, yeah, what happened? What do you mean? Maybe you'll write it to me. I'm serious, y'all. Like, oh, go ahead.
Dr. Lacy.
Mm-hmm.
I was meeting with my chair on Tuesday, but I was asleep.
Okay. Yeah, but it was a good sleep.
She texted me like, hey, we were supposed to meet. Where you at? Now, keep in mind, I met with her like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And I was supposed to write. I ain't right. So I meet with her in 2 weeks. So I want to have something for her by then.
How long? So, what is something? Give me an example.
So I just picked up some of the revisions that were suggested. after my class. And so I looked at that. And so I'm going to work on strengthening my lit review from what I turned in over the summer. So I'm going to read, the goal this week is just to read 4 articles and summarize and write some shitty paragraphs about those articles.
Okay.
I'm keeping it real basic.
Yeah.
Like, I should have took a sabbatical just to enjoy life, but I'm not going to stress myself out. My self-imposed goal is my self-imposed goal. And if it doesn't happen, I'll be okay.
Listen, because she didn't send you an email or an angry message. She just said, "Where are you?" Oh, okay, see you in 2 weeks. That was it.
Yep. And so I want to have something for her in those 2 weeks. And it's for myself.
That's so funny. I just want to pause everybody to notice, like, this is somebody's like worst case scenario that they sleep through a meeting with their chair, on top of, right, they said they were going to write something and they didn't, and nothing happened. She just said, "I'm going to meet with you in 2 weeks." She didn't make it mean anything about you, your ability to finish. She was just like, "Okay, see you later." Thank you for that example. Shop for snacks and water. I don't know. I'm like, can you get like a mini refrigerator? I'm not trying to, you know what? I don't want to get you in no types of trouble with your partner. But if you can, I'm like, what would it look like to have a whole space just decked out for this exam? Okay, work out for 30 minutes. Edit PowerPoint. That's so exciting. Okay, out of the 3, which one feels like the easiest to complete? Which one is the easiest? So what part of the quantitative chapter, Natasha, feels the easiest to do? We can just say it's one thing. No, because the way you work, I'm just going to put it as one thing. What's the easiest part, though?
I don't know. I really don't know what. I guess what would I start? Okay, I would go back and I would be like, okay, girly girlfriend, what was the research question? Because we could spend all of our time procrastinating and doing this. So we're going to feed all the data, but the reality of it is, like, you don't need all the data. You just need the variables that you don't use to run these stupid analysis. So we can just go ahead and get the results and write that up. So,
yeah. So the research question. So writing the introduction and then talking about I said, so writing like an introduction and talking about the research question.
Oh, no, this is the findings chapter. This is the quant findings.
Yeah,
chapter.
that's what I mean, an introduction to the chapter.
Oh.
Would that be easy to you or no?
Well, I don't know what I would be introducing. Do I just say, and these are the findings?
Yeah. Or is it easier to make a table of the findings? I don't know how y'all do this in quant. No.
I guess. Yeah. That's right. That's the one I already talked about a couple of pages / weeks ago. Yes, a table. You're so smart. Table 1.
Yeah, I'm like, what else has to be there? A table.
Yes, table 1. And then I can go ahead on and write a summary of table 1.
Okay.
And then she keeps trying to pawn off her duties as a, it's like, hey, meet with your other chair members about the quant.
Yeah, Jennifer said, "This is not for me. Go find your other people. I'm done. I'll see you later."
I need to do it. So my thing about sending this man an email is like he always responds to me in the day, the day of. He's like, "Okay, you want to meet today? I'm actually free in the next 30 minutes. Come on, let's meet."
How about you give him a time that you feel more comfortable meeting and ask him if he's available?
Yeah. I asked him for a letter of recommendation recently, and he responded like 2 or 3 hours later and was like, how would this work? Like, he didn't like respond and say he would write it. He was just like, here's the thing, what do you think? Okay.
Efficient. I don't need no. I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna give it to you. So you might just want to send him the link to your whatchamacallit results.
Okay.
Excuse me. So he can just look at it. Because since he works in that way, you can just give him the information up front to say, this is what I want to discuss.
Okay. So I can work on a table 1, summary of table 1, and then
Email.
pick the 2 variables
Mm-hmm.
that I said I would do, run the little analysis, and send them an output and say, hey, I want to talk about this.
Yep. On this.
Okay.
That's what, 5, 6 tasks? Yeah. Everybody else, in the same way we just did that, this one thing that I asked you to focus on that you said would be the easiest, how do you break this down into 3 steps that you could do in the next 10 minutes? And the reason why I'm giving you the prompt of in the next 10 minutes is because I'm trying to help you learn how to chunk out your tasks. When you think I only have 10 minutes to, let me go up here, apply the feedback to chapter 4. What are 3 things that you can do that's in the vein of applying the feedback to chapter 4? So Jessica, it may be, I'm going to respond to the first 3 comments. And that's how I want you to write your plan. It seems silly on Sunday night. You on Wednesday night is going to be grateful that you said respond to 3 comments because you're tired and over it. Camille says shred papers in office, tax prep, draft chapter 5. Tax prep is like sending your documents to your person.
No, I gotta go through my QuickBooks and every little expenditure for the last 2 quarters. I gotta say where it goes.
So you need to categorize expenses.
Yep.
Do that. Say that then. Right. Again,
Okay.
y'all think I'm like, is the semantics your brain? Because tax prep could feel big, but when you say, oh, I just have to categorize each expense for the past 2 quarters, that feels more doable because it's more clear what you're asking yourself to do. Put curtains up in the family room. Begin chapter 5 with chat. Just put your old one in there and say, here's the feedback from my chair. How would you address this feedback? See what it gives you. Yeah, Camille. It's smart. It's intelligence. It doesn't need a lot of hand holding. It just needs you to tell it what you want it to do exactly. And since your chair already gave you feedback, it can read it and apply it directly to your writing.
I legit was like, I have 3 like pages of like notes and things to combine for my chapter 5. I might just throw it all in there and be like, combine all of this.
Well, give it clear, right? And just tell it what all of this is, right? So you want to set it up to say, part of this is feedback from my chair. Part of this is notes that I wrote a couple of months ago. Part of this is I read this article. And then here's my current draft of chapter 4. I want you to incorporate those 3 items into my existing chapter 4. And it will tell you can say, show your work, show your thinking, and then it'll tell you how it incorporated and why it put what where, if you want to know that. I think this is my last slide. Oh no. Think about any resources that you might need to complete these 3 things. Now, I asked you to do these 3 things because it's going to give you a starting place. So whenever your next writing session is, you want to start with those 3 tasks because it's going to get you like going with the momentum. And I encourage you to do this for each day. To not try to do this for the whole week because that's how you get distracted. Do this day by day. So let me go back. Right. So if I have these 3 things, let's say my next writing session is tomorrow morning. I'm going to start off tomorrow morning, opening up a Google document, setting a timer and typing for 10 minutes. I don't have to think Monday morning. I could just get to work. And then at the end of that working session, I'll make my plan for the next writing session because I know exactly where I left off and I know how to create. I can chunk it down so that, say, my next one is on Wednesday, my Wednesday self can be prepared because you already gave yourself a big picture view by saying these are the 3 things I'm going to do by Sunday. But you may not know if the 3 things you're choosing, you might have a good guess of how long they will take, but it's not until you start getting into the weeds of the things that you will know. So that is why I'm asking you to do it this way. Think about any resources that you might need, anybody you need to follow up with. But here's what I would say is the most important. When you look at your 3 things or your plan so far, how easy would it be to complete this plan? So who is this? Jessica. When you think about writing the introduction, writing out theme grouping, write out journaling process, how easy would it be for you to complete this plan? 1, it's going to be tight, but I should be able to get it done. 2, I could add more to this, but I'm going to just see what happens after these 3 things. Or I'm not sure I'm doing enough. So I need to keep planning. The goal is to get to a 2. Because if you're following the bare minimum, you're like, these 3 things are enough. I'm going to hang up these curtains. Right, I'm put this chapter 5 in chat, and that's going to be enough for this week. And if I have extra energy, I already brainstorm a whole list of things. I've already gave myself a roadmap of where I could start. But what if it just gets to be enough that you do these 3 things? Because if you go back to last week, what did you complete? Did you complete these 3 things? Did you do more? Did you do less? It gives you a comparison. All right, take a deep breath. Any final words? Any final thoughts as we go into this 3rd week of February? Any final words?
I'm so glad I popped in today because I've been writing and then I will forget. Like I'll write right up until the time there was a call and then I forget to go on the call because my brain be dead. So I'm just really glad I popped in.
I do that. I do things like that all the time. And I laugh at myself because it's funny to me. But yeah.
Today was enlightening for me. Dr. Lacy, thank you for digging a little deeper and going into the whys, not just the hows and the preparation of things. Because sometimes if we get into the why, then we know, like we can put a name to our emotions and the reason why we're doing the thing. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. If you're staying on, Andrea's here. If you still have some things to work on with your plan, or you just the momentum is going, you still just want to work, she is here. She'll be here till 9. And if y'all are still going, she can happily pass off hosting to someone. Announcements. I don't think too much is coming up this week. We have, Wednesday, we have how to start a podcast. Before I lie to you about Thursday, let me go look at what Thursday is. I know Wednesday is because I want to see more of y'all there. I want to hear more podcasts. I want to hear about your research. And
It's a break with us because you're going to be in Florida.
I won't be in Florida. Remember, but do you not remember this conversation? I am changing my half marathon. I'll be in Florida the week after, though.
Okay.
Yeah, my niece has a volleyball, but no.
It's okay.
Is the Wednesday link on the? I'm sorry, Danielle.
It should be. It should be on Circle.
Okay.
It should pop up like. Do you see Simple Business on the left side? It should be there. I'm going to be changing it around this week to make it more easier to navigate. For March schedule, all of them will be on the same channel, so that'll make it easier to navigate as well.
It's on Circle for Thursday. It says no dissertation call to write with us.
To write with us. Yes, I'll be working on 10 pages slides. I know, I changed it.
Coming up. Oh.
It is coming up. Yeah. He said,
I didn't even know I was up in it, girl. Shoot.
yes, and I'm I don't know, I always figure out, like, I think, like, how can I top myself every retreat for the keynotes? So I am I want to try something a little bit different this time. All right, y'all. I think that's it for announcements. Let us know if anything else comes up, if you need help. I will talk to y'all. I think the next time I see you is at the retreat. Yeah, after this week, the next time I'll see you is at the retreat. Okay.
You said that's the end of the month?
Yeah, March 1st and March 2nd.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And are you gonna post? Because I had a friend that she said, share again in March. So I'm gonna share it with her again.
What the link?
So she can sign up. Yeah, so she can sign up.
Here, I'll put so it's Qual Scholars for those of you online. It's qualscholars.com/10 pages. And I'll put that in the chat, y'all. Tell the people. We already have folks who are signing up. .com.
We're gonna see if she's serious. Anyways.
Listen.
she said March. So I said, okay. You know, I be trying to help people.
Trying to help the people. You know, and send us to y'all friends, y'all, because I know people have, especially for your friends who are like, I'm not paying for a dissertation coach. Tell them this is not paying for a dissertation coach. This is a writing retreat. Come to a writing retreat and
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
try it that way. Yeah. Okay. I am too, Melissa. All right, y'all. Good night. I will leave y'all in the hands of Andrea. Thank y'all so much for your time and attention. Good night, y'all.